Hello and welcome to Can't Find My Way Home, the podcast where expats from around the globe talk about the music and art scene in their adopted home. I'm your host, Craig. In this episode of Can't Find My Way Home, I spoke with Jonas Künne. Jonas is a German musician, our first German on this podcast, so I'm very pleased about that too. But Jonas made his name in the music world with the band Black Rust. We talk about how it all began from his hometown in Aalen to Münster and then on to Dortmund and eventually all over the world. There's also chat about punk bands, Norwegian Black Metal, learning the music business in the old school way, as well as a track from Jonas's first solo album. We round things off with the top 5. Without further ado, Jonas Künne. Joining me today is Jonas Künne.
Yeah.
Jonas, thanks very much. We're sitting here in my kitchen in Dortmund and we're just warming up here with a cold Brinkhoff's beer. Thanks very much for joining us, Jonas.
Thanks for having me.
We're here to talk a little bit about your musical past and your present and a little bit about the future too.
Yeah.
Where would you like to start? How did you get into it, Jonas? What was your way into the music business?
So I was raised in a very musical. I was raised in a very musical family. Yeah, my dad used to be a drummer, and my mom was really into heavy metal stuff, and a great Deep Purple fan. Mm-hmm. And so I was raised with a lot of styles and music, and I really like the stuff like the Police and Peter Gabriel and Genesis. It was the music my dad loves and still hears. But making music I started with in the age of 16 when I moved to the North Sea shore to get to know some women.
And
True story.
I guess, did it work? This is the $20 million question.
It worked, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so the podcast over then.
The thing is, when you the new kid in town, it was really easy to get to know the cool people, which were on the same side of musical taste. Mm. So I found good friends. I still have.
Is it a bit like for young kids of this age, teenagers, they either play sports and they make friends this way if you're moving to a new town or a new city?
I guess, yeah.
The other way is to join a band or start your own band or really.
I just grew up without having the internet, so we had to do something.
You were keeping it real.
Yeah.
So and from there, as a kid of 16, but you played guitar before that, or you learned to play?
I learned to play the year before that, yeah.
And this was the kind of classic bedroom.
Yeah.
You'd have an acoustic guitar and just pick it up and learn.
I just bought that book from Peter Bursch where you can teach yourself the guitar.
Remember those days when you used to get books that showed you how to do
awesome.
Stuff? Go buy a book, kids. It's one of these great things.
Yeah.
And from there, when you left school, or what was the next step then to get you into the semi-professional or professional world of music?
The thing is, we started a punk rock band in Wilhelmshaven called the Virgin Suicides. Cool name, by the way. Mm. And we never saw it as a hobby. Never. I always thought it's not just time with my friends and play along little rock songs. No, I always wanted to keep it professional from day one. I don't know why, but I always thought it could be a good idea to become a musician as a job.
So the seeds were planted at a kind of early age.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, it's maybe this idea of if something's worth doing, it's worth doing right. If you really, even speaking for myself as a musician who's not really done much in the sense, but recorded some albums or played shows, it's you want to do the best job you can.
Yeah, exactly. and it was never my intention to keep it semi-professional. So we started that punk rock band, and we rehearsed a lot, and we were in the beginning we were really good. We were a good band. We're still a good band, and we always keep it professional from day one. Just we try to have our. It's always the small steps to have this own rehearsal room, and have your own equipment, and have a lot of shows, and have a tour. We used to tour with a band called Union Youth at the beginning of the 2000s, and they were quite big at the time as a grunge band, and they said no to Fred Durst with a big record deal.
Really?
And
this was through his own label, or
yeah, and they had a massive, big article in the Rolling Stone at that time, and they were touring with the Smashing Pumpkins, and so we toured with them, which was awesome.
They kind of took you under their wing a little bit.
Yeah.
Showed you the ropes.
Yeah. The hard rock and roll life.
Yeah, so it's. I'm sure there are many adventures that we can get into about this hard rock and roll life.
Yeah.
What time frame are we talking about here, Jonas? This would be what year approximately?
It was 2000 until 2003.
And this would be at the height. The band you were in, the Virgin Suicides.
Mm-hmm.
How would you describe them? Is it more a Blink 182 or Sum 81? This kind of punk, pop punk, or
no? It was always we always saw us like some kind of mixture between grunge rock and the old punk rock stuff, like the Dead Kennedys or
so
the Ramones.
Okay, so a bit more of the classic.
Punk
in that sense.
I always hated Sum 41 and Blink 182.
I don't like them too. So there we go. I think we are kindred spirits there, because it's an American pop punk, but it's a thing.
Yeah. We were still we were into Weezer at the time and Pearl Jam, and it still are.
Did you ever listen to the Weezer album they released with all the cover versions on it?
Mm-hmm.
It was last year or the year.
It was last year. Yeah,
it was cool. Right?
Yeah,
it was
awesome.
Was it the Don't Stop Believing they did? I
Yeah.
But they did all these mad covers and all that.
Yeah. Africa, they did Africa.
Okay. I knew it was one of the kind of classics, but yeah, a cool band. Weezer.
Yeah, really good band, and I really like the Blue album.
They made it simple for us, right? It was
blue, green, and yellow, I guess.
And Pinkerton
was the yellow one. Yeah,
the yellow one.
Yeah.
And the happy days.
Yeah.
How long were they? So the band are still together, yeah?
Yeah.
You're still performing, or from time to time you get
From time to
together?
time we get together and perform on each other's weddings.
Well, hopefully that's not too often, because it's either a very big band or you can guess the rest.
So
but you get together and have a good time.
Yeah.
It's fun seeing the guys again.
Yeah.
Are they all based?
No, they're based all over Germany.
All right, so they've moved on and
yeah
got married. Or not got married. Or whatever they've done. And how long was the band together for then, Jonas? A couple of years, yeah. You said.
Yeah, 3 years. We were together, and then we finished school, and the others went to the university, and I started my social work instead of going to the army.
Right, yeah. This we should mention that up until, was it 10 years ago or so, that in Germany, men of a certain age, with school leaving age, you had a choice to go to either the military or to perform some kind of civil service duties.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so I decided not to go to the army, and I worked in a social working station for drug abuse people.
Yeah. People with drug or substance abuse problems.
Yeah. And a homeless
shelter.
A homeless shelter, yeah. And this is where I worked. And the other, our guitar player, he just started studying in Göttingen. And the other guitar player just started studying in Trier, and so we were spread all over.
Yeah.
All over.
That doesn't help, yeah.
Started all over.
Of course, this would be the days before the internet really was taking off, at this particular time.
Yeah.
So it's not as easy as now to record your own parts online and then just...
I remember it was a really huge thing to record our demo stuff.
Mm-hmm.
it was a massive mixing pult, and we just recorded on tape.
Yeah.
And so, and in the year 2002, parallel to the punk rock guys, we started Black Rust in my hometown in Aalen, which is near Münster. And so it was some kind of 2-band stuff at that time, and then the Virgin Suicides decided to take a break.
Yeah.
And then on the other side we started Black Rust.
And this is the project that you're most well known with, or you've done
Yeah.
the most work.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we talk a little bit about Black Rust?
Yeah.
Because this seems like a good place to start. Before we started recording, we were talking about some of the adventures of the band. Not in too much detail, but there's some great stories to share.
Yeah.
The band, as you were saying, they're based in Münster or
In Aalen.
near Münster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, near Münster. Yeah.
Were these local musicians that you met, or you were? Because the music scene can be quite a small village in many respects. You know someone who knows someone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we need a drummer. I know this guy. Or
We had the luck that in our hometown we had a massive and a good heavy metal scene, and so we started as a 2-person project, just our guitar player and me, with 2 acoustic guitars, and we started in that music scene, in that Aalen music scene, which was full of heavy metal people, and they respected us, and they liked us, and it was a good company, a good community. And we moved to Dortmund in 2004, and then we were a Dortmund-based band. We found our bass player and our piano player and our drummer. We were all friends. We knew us from school. And they joined the band in 2004.
So quite close in this respect.
Yeah.
Münster's an interesting, you call it a town? Yeah, small city.
Well, it's a
city.
yeah, it's a city. Yeah.
And of course, it's a university city,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I'm thinking there's a lot. I've been to Münster a few times, but not really for nightlife. Right?
Mm.
Took my mum.
It's a really good nightlife.
Yeah, so from what I've heard, and
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious to check it out one of these days.
Yeah.
Maybe you and I should do that sometime. But Dortmund, what was the scene like then? What was the next step for you?
When we arrived in Dortmund, we started studying, more or less, and we just had a self-produced album out, our first album, so-called So Much Weakness and I Lost My Sense, was the album name. And we concentrated on finding a good record company and to have a proper album coming out. So we put really a lot of energy in finding people helping us, getting real professional musicians.
Yeah, to get a foot in the door somewhere as well. You know?
So it was a good thing to be in Dortmund at the time, just because we had the Visions. We still have the Visions magazine, and we knew a lot of people from there, and we had a good radio promotion company and a good promotion company for the print media. And we found a small label, and we found a management. So this was the first small step in the door. It was all based in Dortmund.
A perfect marriage was born, as they say.
Yeah. And then at that time we all started to move in one living community in a really big flat in Dortmund city. It was a good time, yeah. And we were constantly playing shows. And
if we use a little comparison to where we are now in 2020, the scene, because you've been around both in Aalen, Münster, Wilhelmshaven, and now Dortmund, and not in this order, but what's the difference between the scene now in Dortmund and when you were doing this in the early 2000s?
That's a good question. I moved away from Dortmund 5 years ago, but I always have a good, strong connection to the scene. I think it changed just because the internet and everyone is focused on keep their things together and have the possibility to have a life as a musician. It just became more complicated to be a professional musician, just with the streaming devices, and everyone can make a record.
Yeah, right.
Everyone. You don't need
better or worse.
You don't need to have a studio. And in the mid 2000s, it wasn't that big. This problems, and everyone. we met at the bar and talked to other bands, and we met each other in our rehearsal rooms, and it was a stronger community. I think it broke up.
So the technology's been a bit of a blessing and a curse in equal measures. Yeah, it's made things, and we'll talk a bit about your solo album that's coming out, which is
nobody needs a label anymore.
No, exactly. Right?
Nobody.
The A&R man, all of these things are redundant. They're all gone.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a good thing. So you can try it with the old ways to find an A&R and to find a good label, but nobody gives a shit if you have a contract with Universal or not.
No. Well, they're looking for the next YouTube overnight sensation.
No.
But it's you remember? Have you ever heard the song Friday? The YouTube song Friday? No. Okay, we'll talk about that later. But a friend of this is just when you said something like you don't need a record label to do it. So it was when I was living in South Korea, the guitar player I was mostly played with, he sent me this link and he just said, you should watch this and then life will never be the same again. And it was basically some rich teenager's fatherhood paid for the video and all of the production and all of that stuff. And the song is called Friday, so yes.
Okay.
It's definitely for the shame playlist, I think. You know? It's really good. But this is a good example of what we're saying. It's taking...
I think YouTube is a good example for that, just because when we came to Dortmund in the mid-2000s, it didn't exist. YouTube wasn't there.
No, it was not a thing. Yeah.
It wasn't a thing.
People didn't have mobile devices in their pockets, right?
Yeah,
or we were listening to Walkmans or CD players.
Although I'm really proud to learn being a musician in these times, to get through the old school of things. I like it. I don't want to be a professional musician, or don't want to try a professional musician nowadays. I think it's really hard to really earn a lot of money, earn a little bit of money,
or any money. For some of us, it's like any money would do. You know, we can't even count it. Yeah, that's a good analogy, because going back, it's only less than 20 years, but it's changed so much.
Yeah.
The band itself, Black Rust, how many albums have you recorded? The band is still active, we should say.
Yeah, we're still active, and we the fourth album's coming out this year.
And if we go back a little bit through the discography, you and I were talking the first time we met at New Year. We were talking about recording in London. And would you like to share a little bit of that with us, and how the band evolved from this first album that you made?
In 2007, we found a good label, and we found a good studio, and we got a publishing deal.
Yeah.
And we recorded with a friend of ours in Hamburg for six weeks, I guess. Robin Proper Shepherd from the band Sophia from London. And he had connections to Kenny Jones. He's a London-based producer, mixing engineer. And he did This Charming Man from The Smiths.
There we go. Yeah, classic.
And a good thing is that I had the possibility to use John Porter's acoustic guitar on that album.
One of the perks of recording, we should say.
Yeah. Which was nice. And that same guitar was used on Meat is Murder.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I remember buying that album myself, on vinyl, of course, when it came out. One of my favourites.
And so that was the connection to Kenny Jones in London.
He also worked with Billy Bragg. And,
he worked with Billy Bragg, yeah.
I was a huge Billy Bragg fan back in the day. You know, he did I liked his really first 4 or 5 albums.
Yeah, he worked with Billy Bragg and with Morrissey, and
he was the producer for the record.
No, the producer for the record was Robin Proper Shepherd.
Ah, yeah, okay.
And Kenny just did and he did a wonderful job. Just did the mixing stuff. He did it on all albums.
And what was the next step then? So now we're taking this leap into not really the unknown, but you're taking this great leap forward, to use a Billy Bragg song. You're using this, you've started out reasonably small, and now it's getting bigger, and you can see things happening, and the stages are getting bigger. And what were some of the promotional things that you had to do with these albums? Were there some bigger, were the venues getting bigger, or?
So we decided to just keep it a little bit smaller, just we hadn't that enough money anymore. It was really we paid everything by ourselves, just to have the creative freedom. So we just sold our ready produced album to our record company, and so no, they couldn't say anything about the songs or the art itself. We kept it small. We did with our first album, Medicine and Metaphors, we did a really massive tour, 30 days without a day off, which was...
or maybe a night off also. It's working round the clock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's what we're in it for, yeah?
That's
some days are a little harder than others, but...
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah,
it was like... It was... It's the best thing to give concerts with your best friends.
Yeah, it doesn't get much better.
No.
If there's people there in the audience, it's even better because you can share.
And you get paid for that.
Yeah, I know.
No? And we had our own bus, and we traveled around Germany, and it was quite awesome, the first tour. And after that, we decided to get in the studio really fast, just because I had a lot of songs after that. After that release, I just wrote a lot of songs, and we decided to go back to the studio in Hamburg really quickly after the release of Medicine and Metaphors. I think it was 2 years between the two albums. And then The Gangs Are Gone came out. Right after we played in India, we went to the studio to record that album.
You just kind of casually dropped that in there that when we went to India. So you and I you were filling me in about some of how it all came about. Maybe you could share that with us. It's
okay, so it was a really good story. We had friends in Münster, based in Münster, and there were connections between the golf teacher of our bass player's father and the best friend of him. He's an Indian guy, and the brother of him is the head of the Goethe Institute in India, in South India. And so they asked us if we want to play there.
And you said yes.
Yeah, of course.
Like, sure. Let's do it.
Yeah. It was the thing that we decided to go back to the studio really quickly after that, just because we had some kind of the experience to, wow, we're 6 friends traveling around the world to play a show, to play a rock show. And we started with 2 acoustic guitars in Aalen, near Münster. And we played in India. That's strange.
Yeah,
strange and mind-blowing. Yeah.
Rock and roll takes you to all sorts of places, and most of the best ones are the ones you don't expect.
Yeah, yeah.
And when this opportunity arises, you would be, you have to take it.
Yeah.
There was some really strange things happening that we were talking about. You were not strange in a good way. I mean that in a really positive way. Was it an MTV interview? Or
yeah, we did an interview with MTV India.
When MTV was still a thing, of course.
When music television still existed.
Yes, right. I don't even, does it exist anymore? I don't know. But anyway, that's for another podcast. I should put that on my to-do list. The concert itself in India, what kind of venue was it? And
it was some kind of stadium, some kind of stadium for athletics.
Yeah.
And it was a 5,000 show. I guess 5,000 people were there. I don't know exactly, but I guess
there was enough.
Yeah, it was a good show. Yeah,
a good show.
Yeah, and we had good technicians and a good lighting system, and everything was perfect. It was
everything and more that you can ask for.
Yeah, yeah.
And, it's always something that you can put in your memoirs whenever that time comes, right? When you get to write the book or the audio book, probably. This will be one of the chapters.
It was quite a good thing. It was a lot of fun.
The band itself, we were talking about how it started from 2 acoustic guitars. It's a 6-piece band, but I know it's a bit unconventional in its makeup. The band, it's conventional, but it has unconventional parts.
Yeah.
We've got 2 acoustic guitars, or 2 guitars.
Yeah, we started with acoustic music, like 2 acoustic guitars and a double bass, and
so that's the unconventional bit.
No, it's not that unconventional.
No, but it's less common than.
We're not a jazz band.
Drums. yeah, exactly. And how do you get a double bass to India? There you go. That's one of these.
Oh, it was a massive problem. We went to India with 18 instruments. So we used a lot of brass stuff and the digital piano and all the guitars and
so you shipped all that over. Oh wow. Well, but again, you made it.
Yeah. The only thing we rented in India were the amplifiers.
Nice.
and the drum set. Everything else we got into the plane.
The budget allowed for you to do this. Yes, well, that's quite nice.
Mm-hmm.
What about the sound then? If we talk about the sound of the band, the sonic influences of the band, it's 6 members, so it's 2 guitars, the stand-up bass, drums, of course. What's the other 2 I'm missing?
It's a piano.
Oh, of course.
And
percussion.
The percussions, yeah. But we changed. The album we recorded, which comes out this year, it changed. We got a little heavier, and the first people which heard that album said, "Whoa, it's a little bit like Bruce Springsteen and Pearl Jam, like
this
that
kind
stuff."
of vibe to it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And what about this new album then that's coming out? And we were talking before, it should come out soon. This is a solo album?
No, this is the Black Rust album.
Yeah, sorry.
And I recorded a solo album which comes out at the beginning of April 2020.
Okay, and we shall hear a song from that called Shattered Heart.
This one was from my first solo album.
Oh, right, okay.
From 2016.
Yeah, I didn't do my research.
No problem.
This is as good a time as any then. If we take a little pause for a minute, we'll play the song. Would you like to, I'll line the song up for us if you'd like to introduce it, Jonas, and tell us what album it's from. And
it's the song called Shattered Heart, and it's from my first solo album, which is called My Demons, from 2016.
Let's take a listen then.
Yeah, and it was the first take. The song, the recording. It was the first take.
Oh, right.
In the studio,
It was all done.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
yeah.
Fantastic. Here we go.
I hope you find your wishing well. And all the right things that you love. We've been on the dark run quite too long. On that thin borderline. I've been watching you for a long time, but walking beside you feels like I'm not allowed. I hope you'll find someone to lean on, with less blood and with no lies. Someone who's listening to you. On the thin borderline. I've been watching you for a long time, but walking beside you feels like I'm not allowed. We've been sitting here quite a while, rehearsing some last songs for your shattered heart. Glad you made it through the rain. you made it through the rain. I'm glad you made it through the rain. I've been watching you for a long time, but walking beside you feels like I'm not allowed. We've been sitting here quite a while, rehearsing some last songs for your shattered heart.
And welcome back. Jonas, the song Shattered Heart was from your first album. Let's talk about the album that's forthcoming in the next couple of weeks,
Okay.
hopefully.
Hopefully.
Fingers crossed. Or thumbs pressed,
Yeah.
if we do it in German.
Yeah, I recorded a new album all by myself at home. A new record all by myself at home, which is called Between the Bars and Blinding Lights.
Cool name.
Thank you.
Where does it come from, the title?
It's the title song. It's a song on it, which is called Between the Bars
Is
and
it a
Blinding
song
Lights.
of much visual imagery? Because the title has quite a lot of... It suggests a
It's
lot of visual imagery.
some kind of sad love song.
Yeah.
Sad love songs for dead people. So this the main theme of that album is death and dead people, and I lost quite a lot of people in the last 2 years, and some kind of therapy thing
Yeah.
to write about it.
It's an album maybe where you're opening yourself up a bit more.
Yeah,
You're
it's
talking about more personal
yeah
things
yeah
in a more direct way.
yeah. It's very direct
Because
yeah.
it's just you and
Mhm.
before we were saying a couple of people are helping you out with the
Mhm.
album on piano and
Mhm.
backing vocals and so on.
Yeah.
But primarily it's just you.
Yeah.
And how many tracks on the album?
It's 4 tracks on the album. The 4 tracks, 8 tracks on the album, and I just decided to put the 8th track on it. Not from the beginning. It was 7 tracks, and now it's 8 tracks.
And we're expecting a release date,
The expected release date is the 2nd of April,
not the first.
not the 1st. No.
We have enough jokes here.
Yeah.
So, what's the process for this album then? What are you planning to do to promote it? And hopefully this will help, it'll
Yeah.
widen your audience somewhat. What kind of things are you planning to do to promote the album?
I will release it only digital on Spotify, Apple Music, and Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
So there won't be CDs or something. And I plan to play a couple of living room shows in Germany. I like the idea to grab my guitar and step into the train and play other people living rooms.
How does one go about getting a gig like that? How can people get hold of you, for example?
Mainly over Facebook.
Mhm.
I just ask if anyone's interested,
Mhm.
and it works normally. I played a couple of shows like this, and maybe I'll do some kind of lottery stuff. So the 700 will get a living room concert or
Okay.
things
So
like that.
keep your eyes and your ears peeled for on Jonas's Facebook page. Is Facebook the easiest way for people to get hold of your work? And
Yeah.
to see what's
Yeah,
going on?
it is. Yeah,
To follow your progress.
yeah, it is.
We'll put those links in our show notes so everyone can we know where to go to look. The songs on the album, we were talking about the themes mostly for the songs, and they were very personal and
Mhm.
quite direct in this sense. Is this a new step for you? Was it something that you felt you could do as you got a bit older as a musician rather than when you were in your younger days? Or
So in my younger days, it was like women. It was like to write about women drinking and partying most of the time.
Yeah,
And
the Holy Trinity, right?
Yeah. But the thing is, when we started Black Rust, I always wanted to be more personal. So it's personal music, and I always write like a diary. It's always the lyrics which stand at first, and after that the music. So I'm always writing, and maybe it's a song, maybe it's not a song, maybe it's an idea, yeah, and poems or stuff.
Okay. Yeah. So you keep I don't know, you're a bit old-fashioned in this sense. You keep a notebook with you, or you put it on the notebook on your phone. Yeah. Okay. Cool. But
I got a really cool new app for my iPhone.
What's it called?
It's called it's called Hum. And it's a musical notebook. You can record your guitars and stuff, and you can put on the lyrics and the chords. And this is cool.
Excellent. So we're looking at some live dates. Possibly we're in the middle of this Corona crisis or outbreak of a B movie. It feels like it. I'm waiting for The Rock to come and save the day, or something, or Dustin Hoffman or something. I don't know, whoever. I always,
me and my girlfriend Jenny, we were in a big shopping mall last Monday in Hamm.
Yeah.
The Allee Center, you know that? And it felt like Dawn of the Dead. There was no one there, and I always thought it would be so funny when zombies just come in and we have to take shelter in some kind of store. It would be funny.
I'm sure George C. Romero?
Yeah.
I'm sure he's having a bit of a laugh about this as we speak.
Yeah.
I know he's not with us anymore, but I'm sure wherever he is, he's looking down. Just smile. Yeah. What about the band itself then? We talked about the solo album, maybe some of these living room gigs or one or two other things that might come up in the year. With the band Black Rust itself, any plans to get together for some shows?
Yeah, definitely. We're looking forward to maybe play a tour in fall. But we have at first we have to get the record out, and then we have to rehearse, and we have to get some things together, and then we will play a few shows. But we will not tour like just 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah,
just a few concerts.
And it would be nice to catch up with the old band members again.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's still a 6-piece, yeah?
Yeah, it's still a 6-piece, yeah.
This hasn't really changed.
No.
We were talking off air about some of the places that you've played or the venues you've played. Is there one that sticks out in your mind?
Of the venues?
Yeah, big or small?
I always like to play the Beat Pool in Dresden, which is a massive ballroom, and you're on the stage and you just see this massive old room, which is beautiful, and it's a good place to play. And
acoustics, I imagine.
Yeah, definitely. I like to play small club shows. I don't like to play big open air shows.
You get a bit lost in the connection between you and the crowd.
Yeah, and it's stressful. It's a lot of work behind the scenes.
Yeah, definitely.
And behind the stages, and it's fun. It's fun to play in open airs, but not for the show. Just keep backstage. Yeah. You're hanging around. You meet a lot of other bands and have a good time. But the show itself, it's more stressful than fun.
And then it's all about getting it done on time and all these other things.
Yeah, exactly.
When you go back to the roots of it all, when you're just playing smaller venues or you plug and play kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
You turn up, do a little, maybe you do a sound check, maybe not, but you just you have this adrenaline rush and you just go for it.
It's stressful. We had it a lot of times to get to the venue, get to the open air, and there's no more time. You have to grab your instrument and play the show. and that's stressful. I don't like that.
No, this is the kind of the side of rock and roll that people don't. They see the other end, but
Yeah, there's no time
running
anymore
around.
to eat something or to have a coffee or to have a beer in front of the show, and no, that's not cool.
We were also talking about the other projects that you work on. These, would we call it a show band? Is that
Yeah, some
right?
kind of show band, some kind of carnival cover band.
Yeah. So for anyone listening outside of Germany who doesn't know about Carnival, it's this. Well, maybe you could explain to us, Jonas, since you. It happens primarily between.
It happens
Twice a
between.
year, would you say?
It's a folklore thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the roots of it is at the medieval times.
Yeah.
That you
so it
say
goes back.
Say goodbye to the winter ghosts,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to you have the last chance to have a big party and to be someone else with all the masks and stuff, and then on Ash Wednesday the
Lent.
what's called in English the Fastenzeit.
This is Lent.
Okay.
So it's this
It
period
begins.
where
Yeah,
you
okay.
abstain from doing all the things that
Yeah,
you've done before.
Yeah.
the
Okay.
Good stuff,
Okay.
basically.
So it's the
Yeah.
last chance to have a good party.
And then it's Easter, and then we start again.
Yeah. And so I'm here in that area of North Rhine-Westphalia. There's a lot of carnival clubs,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm in a carnival club my whole life since I was born, and I like it. So the thing in Germany is, you like it or you don't like it.
Okay.
There's no thing
There's
between it.
no
No.
middle ground. Yeah.
No. And so we started that band 5 years ago, when my sister is a singer, and we were some kind of quite rock and roll band, and it's fun.
You play to a lot of people who are in good moods, shall we say? Or
Mhm.
they're in,
A lot of drunk people.
Yes, basically.
Yeah.
They're there for a good time.
I play in front of a lot of drunk people the songs I would never play.
That was my next question, because I was going to say, of course, there's this whole subgenre, this German genre of Schlager music. What kind of songs do you play in the?
We're some kind of cool show band. We play a lot of stuff from BAP, the Cologne band from Cologne, which does a good work. I really like that band, and we did some songs from Herbert Grönemeyer.
Mm-hmm.
I like Herbert Grönemeyer, but we play Schlager as well. Yeah,
It gets them going, yeah.
I like it.
Well, why not, right? It's
It's
I
not-
don't think there's anything wrong with it.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I always wanted to play Dancing Queen from ABBA,
Mm-hmm.
which is cool. It's a
That's
great song.
song.
Yeah.
You know, I was talking to someone a couple of weeks ago, and this was before Carnival, and she was going to a pajama party, but in Dresden, I think it was, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Or Voltrop, somewhere like that.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a show band playing there. So I looked at the Facebook page, and it just said, we'll play Schlager, we'll play this, and we'll play that. It just sounds like a good time. You know?
The thing is, with a show band, you don't have to prove that you're a good musician and you're a good band. So when we're at the beginning with Black Rust, you have to prove that you're good. You have to really fight about the audience and the ears of the audience.
It's a perception thing.
Yeah. And so with the show band, you go on stage and play a song everybody knows, and everything's partying. And whoa, I don't have to work, and I don't have to fight. It's cool.
Or people walk away, right? They're like, "What's this guy doing?"
Yeah.
They just leave. But
Yeah.
These bands, I've played in a lot of cover bands over the years, and when it's a thing. You make people dance, or people have a good time.
It's a good thing. I like it. Yeah. It's a good, nice break from the serious music I make.
It's maybe a bit of an accompaniment.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a way.
It's a
can,
good. It's a good.
Express yourself in a different way.
Yeah, it's a good co-work between.
And you're in the band with your sister. You were saying.
Yeah, we're like the Kelly family.
The Partridge family. There's lots of that. Yeah, there's lots of these family bands.
It's cool. It's good to have her as a singer. She's a good singer, by the way.
And you were telling me you played recently. You did 7 shows in one night. Yeah, that's just, how does that even work? It's how long were the sets? Like
Just about half an hour.
Oh, okay. So
It's okay.
it's not bad.
But it's stressful.
It's a lot of running around.
Even when it's only in one town, it's stressful.
You just go from one to the next to the next. And of course, it's catching your breath or trying to have a smoke before you start.
Yeah. It's hard.
The rock and roll life is not an easy one, is it?
No, it isn't.
Jonas, before we move on to our top 5, where could we see your work, or where could we listen to it rather, and what kind of social media are we using these days?
So I'm really active on Instagram right now, and Facebook, of course, and all my music and all the Black Rust music is available on Spotify and Apple Music and Amazon.
If we were looking on Instagram, would we just look under Black Rust?
No, we don't have a Black Rust account. It's just my private account, but which is called Black Rust 1, so some kind of mixture.
Do you get a lot of reaction on this?
Yeah, I do.
Instagram, it seems to be the not the new thing, but the next thing.
I do. Yeah, I get a really good request.
And some feedback
from all over the world, and it's good. It's a good way to stay in touch with friends from all over the world.
Yeah, I've been experimenting as you've seen. I've been experimenting it with myself the last.
But it
few
works.
weeks.
It's good.
It's a work in progress. Let's put it that way. Some days are better than others. But yeah, it's fun. It's quite a nice way to do it. You can add audio and video and all that good stuff. So that takes us to the top 5. Are you ready for it?
Top 5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where we ask our guests, as I reach over for my piece
I like
of paper.
top lists.
Yeah, we go for 5 and then see what happens. Top 5. So these are 5 general questions. I'm not going to ask them in any specific order, but Jonas, who's an artist that we should be listening to?
Only music?
Your choice.
Everyone should get into the work of Andy Kaufman. He was a genius.
And of course, those who don't know, we're talking like, if I'm thinking REM songs, Man in the Moon.
Oh, okay, yeah, of course. The famous REM song Man on the Moon is about Andy Kaufman. Andy Kaufman started at Saturday Night Live in the mid-70s in the USA, and he did a really expressed comedy style, which was not that traditional stand-up comedian stuff.
Yeah.
He did some kind of, maybe he was the first who did multimedia comedy. He had his own TV show, and he wanted the director to change some stuff with the cameras so that all people at home thought the TV broke. And that was the joke.
Right. A bit surreal.
Yeah, surreal comedy, yeah. And even till today, he died on cancer.
Yeah.
1984, I guess.
Yeah, it was early 80s.
Yeah.
He was in Taxi as well.
Yeah. He played in Taxi.
Sitcom, yeah.
And so even to this day, there are a lot of people thinking he isn't dead. It's just a joke from him. So everyone should get into the work of Andy Kaufman. He was brilliant.
What do you think? Joke or not joke? If he's here or not? You're on the fence?
I don't know. Well, no, I think he's dead.
I'm sure we can
have you
Google
seen
it and see what the conspiracy theories.
Have you seen the movie with Jim Carrey?
A long time ago though. Yeah,
it's
Jim Carrey,
one of my favorite movies of all time. And there was the documentary.
I haven't seen the documentary.
With Jim Carrey on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
It was brilliant. And he was Andy Kaufman in that role.
Yeah, and he took it to the edge of the performance.
Yeah.
And so on. What about a musical artist we should be listening to? Who's someone you would recommend for us? It could be German artist, English singing, whatever.
Right now, I'm listening a lot songs from the band Blanco White. It's a good band. They just released a few EPs and singles, not an album yet, but I don't know. I think they're from the UK. They're cool.
Right. We should post
it's really smooth, a little bit dark folk rock stuff, which is good.
Sounds good. What about a guilty pleasure? a musical act or band or artist that, yeah. I think we know what's coming next, yeah.
I love the band Creed.
Okay.
And I love the song Will You Take Me Higher? it's awesome.
He's had some, I was reading about what happened to Creed. I don't know if they made a comeback or not, I'm not sure. I know the guitar player went on to do Alter Bridge.
Yeah.
And I remember their first album, and I think they're still playing today. I think they're still pretty active, and Tremonti's quite a well-known guitar player. Yeah. But the singer guy,
Scott Stapp,
did he go a bit mad, or?
He went mad.
Yeah.
He released his solo album, and he did some strange things on YouTube with some kind of, I don't know, some kind of addiction problems, and
so maybe he wasn't in a good place when he was doing them.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess there was I don't know exactly what happened, but he went to a TV show to say sorry to something. There was something like that. I think he's an asshole. Some kind of Trump asshole.
Okay, he has an agenda maybe of some kind.
Yeah. But I like the band Creed.
Very, very, very thick guitar sound. I don't even know if that's the right adjective to describe it, but a very, very, very big guitar sound.
Yeah. And I really like Human Clay, that album. It's a good album with a lot of good songs.
It must be 20 years ago, that album.
I think it came out 1989.
Wow, okay, so yeah, it's some time ago.
Yeah. I just remember I came from school and bought it in our CD store in my hometown.
It was around about that time with the people. I remember people comparing his voice to all the other voices of that time.
Yeah,
Eddie Vedder.
And do you remember that MTV Celebrity Deathmatch?
Oh no, I didn't.
And they there was a part of the show where Scott Stapp fought Eddie Vedder in that clay style.
Oh yeah.
And Eddie Vedder won. So funny.
I'm not surprised.
And everyone's talking in the video like, you stole my voice, you stole my voice.
There's some great Eddie Vedder videos on YouTube. I remember sort of watching them with a friend of mine, and it's misunderstood lyrics or something like that. So no one knows what Eddie Vedder's saying, right? So it's but of course the subtitles underneath are completely bizarre to what he's singing. He's like, Eddie Vedder's done okay with this. I think he's made quite a good career for himself about being.
Yeah, I think he's a cool guy.
Yeah, he's a very multi-talented guy as well.
And I'm
did
really
a ukulele album.
Yeah, it's great. It's really great.
And he did a soundtrack, Into the Wild or something as well, if I remember rightly.
Yeah,
he's done a whole other things that people don't really know about. You just think,
and he's a good artist, a painter.
A painter too. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So what's what happens when you get so much time on your hands, Jonas? You get to enjoy your passion a little more. So that's a guilty pleasure.
Creed.
It's not bad. Good call. If I asked you who would you like to most collaborate with and why, it could be as a band or with just another solo artist.
I just want to collaborate with a black metal band from Norwegian. I think that would be a cool thing. I always wanted to do that.
Are you much of who would sing?
I don't know.
Would you give it a go? Would you be up
Why
for
not?
it?
Why not? But I really would like to play together with a black metal band.
That's it. I wasn't expecting that answer, but okay, that sounds fine. Is there any Norwegian black metal? That's what we get. Is there anyone that we should know the name of? Mayhem
and Gorgoroth and
okay, I shall go check them out.
Abath and there's a lot of really famous.
There's a big scene up there in this
Dimmu
northern region.
Dimmu Borgir, maybe.
Yeah. Are they a bit like Lamb of God? This kind, or is it a bit?
No. Lamb of God is such a different thing.
Okay, yeah. I still have to learn these things. Okay, but it's loud. I know this much. Yeah, it's pretty loud.
I really like to make that kind of musical art.
A side project.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay.
And I really like that lack of that metal scene. I think it's good music. I think it's art. I don't see it as music. I see it as an art stuff.
It's kind of weird how it came out of that region primarily, like Norway or Denmark or these Nordic countries, and how they've managed to make it their own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With the weather or the expensive beer, whatever it is. It's a bit of both. What's your go-to karaoke tune, to be honest? You get to do karaoke for real though, right? So it's...
The last time I did karaoke, I did, I think, an ABBA song. The Winner Takes It All.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
There's karaoke takes you to that other place, right? It's...
Yeah, you have to be really drunk.
Well, here's one of, I don't know if you know this, but one of the differences between karaoke here in the West, you might do it in a pub, for example.
Mm-hmm.
There'll be someone with a machine and you just pick up the mic
Mm-hmm.
and do it there. But in Asia, or South Korea particularly, you actually go into your own private room and do it.
Okay.
So it's just, I've known people, maybe ex-students of mine, but they'll go in and sing on their own for half an hour, whatever.
Okay.
They just go and rent a room and let it all out, or you go
Which is a good thing.
Yeah,
it's great. Yeah.
It's not that expensive. It's maybe €10 an hour or something
Okay.
like that. But this is a kind of really common thing for people to do. They've been out for something to eat with their work colleagues, and then they go for a drink afterwards, and then the third step on this this ladder is the karaoke bar or the
Cool.
Norwegian room.
Cool.
But the only downside to this is they have a tambourine in the room. And if you know people who can't use a tambourine, it's quite distressing. It's, it tips me over the edge, you know.
It's dangerous.
They're clapping on the 1 and the 3, right?
Uh-huh.
It's just...
Okay. Yeah, I see.
So you need to be really drunk just to kind of make it go over. And lots of reverb.
And lots of reverb, yeah.
Oh,
of course.
It's just takes you to that other place. So ABBA karaoke tune, Winner Takes It All.
Yeah.
Last question on our top 5. We touched on this briefly, but the best venue you played at, you mentioned in Dresden. Is there something a bit more local, either in your hometown or in Dortmund that we could...
I remember playing a good show at the Juicy Beats Festival together with Black Rust a few years ago.
And this is a 2-day festival.
This is a 2-day festival,
Dortmund
yeah.
in July, I think it is.
Yeah,
August.
I think in August, July, something. And that was cool, just because it was like a big tent,
Mm-hmm.
and that was cool. But I think the nicest stage we were on was on the Haldern Pop Festival, the Spiegelzelt, the tent, the mirror tent. That was awesome.
Was that an evening gig or
No, it was
after dark? Or?
It was. I think it was quite early at the day. I think it was around 1 p.m. But it was dark just because the mirror tent.
Mm-hmm.
It was cool.
Do you have a preference if you were playing a show, for example? Did you have a preference to play it at night or?
I really like to play really late at night. I like it to go on the stage at 11.
The atmosphere is right.
Yeah.
The feeling is right.
Yeah, and I really like to have a support band, a good support band.
This is maybe this is the real rock and roll witching hour. We get into 11, 12 o'clock. It's, when we were played gigs in South Korea, it was quite often we would start at 12, or 10:30 or 11 o'clock. Yeah, we never started early.
Yeah,
because you would play till 2 in the morning or 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
Those were the days.
Mm-hmm, I really like it.
Jonas, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for spending the time with us, and I hope you get the album released on time.
You will get the album as soon as it's finished.
Excellent. It sounds like a plan. Jonas, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Cheers.
It was a pleasure.
We made it to the end of another episode of Can't Find My Way Home. Thanks to Jonas for being my first face-to-face podcast. I had a great time talking about music, life, and all things in between. I'll leave links to where you can find Jonas's work, both solo and with Black Rust. You're in for a real treat when you check them out, so please do. New albums coming out the 2nd of April, so fingers crossed. All things going to plan, we'll hear some new material really soon. Where can you find more about Can't Find My Way Home? You can find us on Facebook at Expat Music Pod, or you can simply search for Can't Find My Way Home. You can find us on Instagram at can't.findmywayhome. We're also on Google Podcasts and Spotify. when you do find us, leave a review. Tell us what you think. I'm really curious to hear what the word in the street is. The last place you can find us is at anchor.fm. Simply search for Can't Find My Way Home, all one word. From there you can find our Instagram, YouTube, and a whole bunch of different other podcast platforms where you can find the podcast. We're actually recording this in the middle of all this corona COVID virus scenario now that it's hit Europe. So please, folks, take care of one another. Don't take all the toilet paper in the supermarket. Come on, leave something for the rest of us, eh? So until the next podcast, this is Craig saying take it easy, and see you on the next one.